Hi, it's Mark, and I'm in the yoga room at my gym, and I'm doing the reading from the Golden Present Daily Inspirational Readings by Sri Swami Satchidananda. And it's Halloween. Happy Halloween. I am not doing anything for Halloween except doing this reading. So let's see. This is the topic for today. Adapt, adjust, accommodate, bear insult, bear injury. I know what that is. This is the topic, and this is the reading. It is easy to sit and meditate. The most difficult part is to practice bearing insult and injury, learning to adapt, adjust, and accommodate. These are the teachings of the great saint and sage of the Himalayas, Sri Swami Shivananda Maharaj. You can do your prayer, meditation, spiritual practices all by yourself. But what about your attitude when you deal with people? When you work with them day in and day out? That is where you have to prove that you have achieved something in your spiritual practices. If a person practices adapting, adjusting, and accommodating, he would never point a finger at others and blame them. Even if another person is at fault, if you know how to adapt, adjust, and accommodate, you are able to rise above those situations. Still, the most difficult thing is to bear insult and injury. That needs a tremendous capacity to keep the mind totally under your thumb. Do your daily work, deal with everyone, move with everybody. Be in the ocean, but learn to surf well. Ooh, all kinds of thoughts came up during that one. I thought about things with work, previous employments. I thought about people from those employments. I thought about my family. I thought about actually way back, high school, college, all kinds of experiences where I saw myself get wounded from certain experiences. There was a critique that I had in college near the end of my college years, and I remember one of the master's students of the painting class came down pretty hard on my work, and I wasn't prepared, and it kind of just, I kind of just felt crushed and didn't know how to recover. And of course I blamed that person. So rather than taking it on to see what it was that I could learn from it, it was, well, that person's problem. They're a bad person. And so all of my efforts were to focus on them rather than to strengthen myself. What is it that happened in that situation that I believed that person enough to take it on? Because if it's something that you don't have any connection with, and somebody throws something at you, it won't hurt, it won't sting. But I think if for some reason it gets us, it's getting something at the core of who we are, who we believe we are, and it causes us to want to fight. And of course I'm thinking about things going on in the world today, in our own country, where there's a sense of defensiveness against certain people in certain parts of our country. And it sort of, it stings, or it touches this very soft place in us that feels that it's become violated, or that our rights are feeling like we're being infringed upon. And so we want to protect that, which makes complete sense. So where in that would we want to bear insult and injury as part of the practices here? I think the basic idea is when we become attached to thinking things are supposed to go a certain way, forgetting that there is this kind of swinging pendulum idea where things will constantly change and that lessons will constantly be learned, that we can get a better perspective rather than just staying stuck inside the middle of it and going back and forth. Because the back and forth does get exhausting, dizzying, tiring, frustrating, and at some point we want to jump off, and we don't know how to do that. So we either try to jump off, or we try to distract ourselves, or we point the finger, instead of recognizing we have the ability to shift the way that we relate to this. And oftentimes, it's like if you're in the middle of an argument, if you could imagine yourself watching the argument and how it even got there in the first place, to that place of anger and rage or resentment, whatever's going on, if you could be outside of it, like watching it like a movie or a play, you could probably figure out for the two people what happened. Like, hang on, I think I understand. You were feeling this way and you were feeling this way, and there's a way to resolve this when you have that outside perspective. But when you're in the midst of it, it can be really, really difficult. So practicing getting that witness perspective is something we can do in meditation and in yoga. And it's through that we begin to be able to perceive things a little differently, with less emotion, less entanglement of the situation. And I believe it's in that we recognize the bigger picture, that what we're learning here, adapt, adjust, accommodate, bear insult, bear injury, is just a way to help subside the ego long enough that we come into that center of who we are, that center of our being. But so long as we think we have all the answers, that we're right, they're wrong, all that, we're just infusing more power into the ego. And we're playing that game of the swinging pendulum, which in a lot of instances, we're just used to that. That's how we see the world operate. So it's really hard to break out of that. And that's why the practices feel so imperative in my mind, because it's through that we can gain a different perspective. This doesn't feel very Halloween oriented. I thought it might, but maybe sometimes we believe we're the mask. We put on a mask to protect ourselves from the world, and we're afraid to really be who is underneath there. And there's actually a lot of power when we're ourselves. And there's a lot of power, like Swami Satchidananda says, when you are able to do this. It helps, that needs a tremendous capacity to keep the mind totally under your thumb. Keeping the mind, meaning you're able to have more control over the outcome, rather than just like, everything's scary and difficult. Actually, it can become very peaceful, but we're always challenged. Who knows what's going to happen, right? So again, practice. Okay, well, happy Halloween, and thanks for watching this, and I'll see you tomorrow.